By the time we left Georgia, the sky had turned against us. Thunder cracked overhead, lightning split the horizon, rain came down so hard the world disappeared in sheets of gray. Traffic lights were out, visibility was low, and we were heading toward one more stop before dark. Earlier that day, we had crossed a high bridge for the first time. On the way down, my son said, "That was terrifying, but so beautiful." At the time, we laughed. Later, it would mean more. The last bridge of the day was worse, higher, windier, and now it was raining. I sang along to whatever song was playing on the radio, partly to steady myself, and my son reached over and started petting my arm, reassuring me. It was funny, but it was also too sweet. Somewhere between thunder and steel beams and rain-slick pavement, we became a team. By the time we reached Saint Helena Island, the storm had already passed through. The roads were soaked, puddles everywhere, branches scattered across pavement. We passed a tree that looked split clean in half. I wondered if it was the same storm we had just driven through in Georgia. It felt like we were chasing it, or maybe it was chasing us. Our final stop of the day was Saint Helena's Chapel of Ease. It wasn't fortified, it wasn't armed, it wasn't even whole. Built in 1740 for parishioners who couldn't travel easily to Beaufort, it had already survived more than most structures ever would. Fire had taken its roof, time had taken its doors, but the walls were still standing. We didn't stay long. The gnats were relentless. They swarmed like they owned the place. On the way out, my son texted Grandpa to ask why gnats were called gnats. Neither of us knew. Grandpa didn't either. Which felt deeply ironic, considering he owned a pest control company. Even in ruins older than our country, life still found a way to be mildly ridiculous. But for those few minutes, standing inside tabby walls that had outlived fire and storm, something shifted. The forts we had missed that day were built to defend. This place was built to gather. It wasn't about cannons or conquests or checklists. It was about people and the quiet spaces they leave behind. I didn't know it yet, but this was the first time I had ever stepped into ruins. The first time I had walked among graves without rushing. The first time I had felt drawn to what remained instead of what was restored. Terrifying, but so beautiful. That's what my son had said on the bridge. Standing there in the fading light with wet roads behind us and lightning somewhere in the distance, I realized something. Travel doesn't have to be conquered. Sometimes it just needs to be witnessed. We left the chapel as darkness settled in, drove into Beaufort to find a hotel. None available. Thanks, Murph. Marine graduation weekend, some water event, fully booked. Fire alarms flashing, the building had been struck by lightning. Much of Beaufort was without power. So we left town. Again, storm behind us, uncertainty ahead. That day began at 3:30 in the morning with ambition. It ended in ruins older than the United States. I thought I was building itineraries. I was building instincts. I didn't know that this stop would start a whole series, that it would lead to abandoned cemeteries, GPS-tagged graves, ghost towns, and forgotten stories. All I knew was that something about broken walls felt honest, terrifying, but oh so beautiful. Some journeys begin with thunder. Some begin in ruins. And sometimes they begin both ways at once.